All right, today we're going to break down one of history's most famous stories of failure. It's all about what happens when our deepest sense of loyalty, our strongest conviction, just shatters under pressure. We're talking about a promise made with the best intentions and how its breaking led to a really profound moment of truth.
And that really is the heart of it, isn't it? This question right here. We've all been there, I think, feeling so certain, so sure of ourselves, of our own strength. But then, reality hits, and we find out we're maybe not as strong as we thought. Well, this is the exact crisis that hit one of Jesus' closest followers, the Apostle Peter, like a ton of bricks.
So to really get why this fall was so dramatic, you have to understand the man himself. Peter was, well, he was bold. He was passionate, zealous, and fiercely loyal. And so on the night of the Last Supper, when Jesus predicts that all his followers are going to abandon him, Peter steps up and makes this massive and what he thought was an unbreakable promise.
I mean, you can almost hear the confidence just booming in his voice, right? This isn't just a casual statement. This is a declaration. He's setting himself apart from everybody else, totally convinced that while others might slip up, he won't. No way. He is putting his own reputation, his own resolve, right on the line.
And then, boom, Jesus just drops this incredibly sobering, almost chilling prediction. It's a direct shot at Peter's boast. He's saying, oh, not only are you going to falter, Peter, but you're going to do it 3 separate times, thrice, before the sun even thinks about coming up. The tension is just, wow, it's immediately set. Who's going to be right?
But Peter, he doesn't back down. He doubles down. He basically says, even if it costs me my life, I will not deny you. And you see, this has gone beyond simple loyalty now. This is pure overconfidence. Peter is relying completely on his own strength, and he has no idea what kind of spiritual test is waiting for him just a few hours away. But here's the thing. Even before that big promise was really put to the test, Peter's armor of self-confidence, it already started to show some serious cracks. Almost immediately, his actions and his words started to go in 2 very different directions. So first, in the Garden of Gethsemane, Jesus is in agony, praying, and all he asks Peter to do is just stay awake with him. Simple, right? But Peter falls asleep. Now, it seems like a small failure, but it's a big deal. Then, moments later at the arrest, he goes to the other extreme. He whips out a sword and lashes out, an act that looks brave, but it's totally misguided. He's trying to fight a spiritual war with a physical weapon, completely missing the point of Jesus' mission. And Jesus' diagnosis of the problem here is just fascinating. He looks at Peter, sleeping, and he says this. It's like he's saying, look, it's not that you don't want to be loyal, Peter. Your spirit, your intention, it's all there. The problem is your human weakness, your flesh. It gets tired, it gets scared, it gets distracted. And that one line is the key to understanding everything that's about to happen. And that brings us right to the climax of the story. Peter follows Jesus, but afar off, it says. He's trying to stay close, but that distance, it's already a huge sign that his courage is fading. And there he is, sitting by a fire trying to blend in with the crowd when his big, bold promise is about to be tested in the worst way possible.
The whole collapse is just swift and brutal. The first time a servant girl asks him, it's almost casual, a quick lie to just get her off his back. But then a second person points him out and you can feel the panic rising. His denial gets more forceful. Man, I am not. And by the third time, his claim, basically, I don't have a clue what you're even talking about, it isn't just a denial anymore. He's completely erasing his entire identity as a follower. That promise to die for Jesus has just crumbled into a desperate scramble to save his own skin.
And in that exact moment, right as the words of his third denial leave his lips, the sound that Jesus predicted cuts through the night. The rooster crows. And with that sound, reality just comes crashing down on Peter. This might be the most powerful moment in the whole story. Just stop and picture this. In all the chaos of that courtyard, their eyes meet. And the text suggests this look wasn't angry or condemning. It was more like a look of truthful compassion. A look that just held up a perfect mirror to Peter's soul.
And in that one single glance, it all comes flooding back. The promise he made, the prediction Jesus gave, and the awful, crushing weight of his failure. The self-confident man from just hours before is gone. He is utterly broken. He runs out of the courtyard and just weeps bitterly. And this isn't just sadness, This is the agony of seeing your own weakness with perfect, painful clarity.
So, okay, what do we actually take away from this incredibly painful episode? Well, the story is way more than just one man's failure. It's a deep, deep lesson on human nature, on pride, and on the whole nature of grace itself.
This slide really gets to the core of it all. Peter's promise was built on this shaky foundation of his own strength, of self-reliance. He genuinely thought his loyalty was his achievement, but his failure pulled the rug out from under him and revealed the truth, that human will, all on its own, is incredibly fragile when the pressure is really on.
So what are the big lessons here for us? Well, first, it shows that overconfidence in ourselves can make us incredibly brittle. Pride can blind us to just how weak we can be. But maybe more importantly, Peter's bitter tears weren't the end of his story. They were the necessary, painful beginning of a repentance that would lead to his complete restoration.
And this, for me, is the most hopeful part of the entire story. Before any of this even happened, Jesus said this to Peter. He knew Peter was going to fail. He knew he'd have to be converted or turned back around. And he had already planned for Peter's restoration and his future as a leader. You see, Jesus' plan for Peter was always bigger than Peter's biggest failure.
Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought. Peter's denial completely shattered his self-reliance. It forced him to find a strength that was way beyond his own. And it was from that place of total brokenness that he eventually became the rock on which the church was built. It really makes you wonder, doesn't it? Maybe experiencing our own profound weakness is the only way we can ever discover what true, lasting strength really is.